There was an old person of Tring who embellished his nose with a ring. He gazed at the moon every evening in June, that ecstatic old person of Tring. Yes,
there was
indeed.
an old person of Annerley whose conduct was strange and unmannerly. He rushed down the strand with a pig in each hand, but returned in the evening to Annerley. There was a lot of ones in which they were mentioned as antagonists. There was an old man of Whitehaven who danced a quadrille with a raven. But they said, it's absurd to encourage that bird, and they smashed that old man of Whitehaven.
Oh dear, a bit nasty.
I was rather pleased when there was a man who got his own back on the.
There was an old man of the West who wore a pale plum-covered vest. When they said, does it fit, he replied, not a bit. That easy old man of the West. But which was the other poem of that? That was
the one.
The Jumblies?
Oh, I knew that one. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water it soon came in, it did, the water it soon came in. But to keep themselves dry, they wrapped their feet in pinky paper all folded neat, and fastened it up with a pin.
I was trying
There
to
was the
find
one on the coast of Coromandel where the early pumpkin blows. In the middle of a wood lived a yongy bongy beau. On the coast of Coromandel where the early pumpkins blow. In the middle of a wood lived a yongy bongy beau. 2 old chairs and 1 old candle, half a jug without a handle. These were all the worldly goods in the middle of the wood. These were all the worldly goods of the yongy bongy beau. He fell in love with...
Well, the Jumblies is a long one, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the Owl and the Pussycat's the only one I can remember now.
Oh, yes.
There's the Dong with the luminous nose. Yeah. But as for reciting them... No.
Long years ago the Dong was happy and gay, till he fell in love with a Jumbly girl, who came to the woods one day. For the Jumblies came in a sieve they did, landing at eve near the Emery's Fid, where the oblong oysters grow, and the rocks are cool and grey, and all day the hills and valleys rang with the chorus they daily and nightly sang. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. Oh, they sailed away.
That's happily past the days.
Happily passed those days when the cheerful Jumblies stayed. They danced in circlets all night long to the plaintive pipe of the lively Dong, in moonlight, shine or shade. For day and night he was always there by the side of the Jumbly girl so fair, with her sky-blue hands and her sea-green hair, till the morning came of that hateful day, when the Jumblies sailed in their sieve away, and the Dong was left on the cruel shore, gazing for evermore, ever keeping his weary eyes on that pea-green sail on the far horizon, singing the Jumbly chorus still, as he sate all day on the grassy hill. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. But when the sun was low in the west, the dong arose and said, "What little sense I once possessed has quite gone out of my head." And since that day he wanders still by lake and forest, marsh and hill, singing, "Oh, somewhere in valley or plain might I find my Jumbly girl again. Forever I'll seek by lake and shore till I find my Jumbly girl once more." Playing a pipe with silvery squeaks, since then his Jumbly girl he seeks. And because by night he could not see, he gathered the bark of the twangum tree on the flowery plain that grows, and he wove him a wondrous nose, a nose as strange as a nose could be, of vast proportions and painted red, and tied with cords to the back of his head. In a hollow rounded space it ended, with a luminous lamp within suspended, all fenced about with a bandage stout to prevent the wind from blowing it out, and with holes all round to send the light in gleaming rays on the dismal night. And now each night and all night long over these plains still roams the dong, and above the wail of the chimp and snipe you may hear the squeak of his plaintive pipe, while ever he seeks, but seeks in vain, to meet with his Jumbly girl again. Lonely and wild all night he goes, the dong with a luminous nose, and all who watch at that midnight hour from hall or terrace or lofty tower cry as they trace the meteor bright moving along through the dreary night, "This is the hour when forth he goes, the dong with a luminous nose. Yonder over the plain he goes, he goes, he goes, the dong with a luminous nose." Oh dear.
Yeah. I've just remembered another one was Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yes.
And A.A. Milne's Now We Are Six.
I was very fond of that.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I kept reading The House at Pooh Corner.
Yes.
It was
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you remember any of the stories you told me all those years ago?
No.
I remember the one about Wobble, the Diplodocus, as we say it, the Diplodocus Wobble.
Yes.
And there were lots of floating islands
Yes.
that you drew, but I can't remember
I
the
remember.
stories.
I remember drawing them, but
Yes, I can remember drawing them.
I don't remember the
I
stories.
really, really get annoyed when I think of that
I know.
old book,
Same here.
Mum's old autograph book.
Oh dear, dear.
I know, but we've two different ideas as to what happened to it.
Well,
Both conflicting.
I remember I'd filled it up with drawings, some of them pasted in, some of them drawn or written
Yep.
in. But it was full to fill up, and I gave it to Mora.
Yep.
And then we'd one of our hideous quarrels, and I can never remember the cause of them.
No.
But
This is where it deviates. Okay.
and what I remember was that I seized the book, and I took it away, and I stuck my finger into a pot of ink, and I went through it steadily.
Yep. We do agree on that one. Yeah.
Blotting all the pages. Anyway, I give it back to you. And I remember you came in and hit me very hard over the head with it. Yoink.
Quite likely. There was no finesse at all.
No. Mum came in and asked what the quarrel was about, and neither of us told her really. Anyway, but the point was, though I'd spoiled the book, I certainly gave it back to you.
Yeah.
And you told me much later you thought you'd actually kept it, but there'd been a time in which Bert had suggested that he would go through through all your things.
Certainly did that, yes.
And throw away the ones that weren't necessary.
Yeah.
And he would let you go through all his things,
Yeah.
and I'd throw away the ones.
He cheated.
Yes.
He cheated. He kept the photograph book that he didn't show me at all, so I couldn't throw it out.
Yes.
And I got rid of I don't remember that. I don't remember having that, the autograph book then. I really don't. I don't know what happened to it.
Yes.
I do remember getting rid of the books that I'd got from Aunt Agnes.
Oh, yes.
D.K. Broster's one, The Key Above the Door, and those
yes,
ones.
yes.
And also, what I'm reading again now, The Flight of the Heron,
Oh, yes.
and the two about the Jacobite Rebellion. I got rid of those, and I've bought them all back again. So I may have got rid of them when I got first married, but they're all back on the shelves again.
Good.
They will be there. I've got 2 copies of actually The Key Above the Door, one to carry whenever I go out and one to stay. But yes, I loved it.
I never read it, but I remember seeing it on her shelves.
Yes, she had it there. Winnie the Pooh and... Come on, can you remember it? The marmalade, the king asked the queen, and the queen asked the dairymaid, could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread?
Oh, yes.
The dairymaid said, certainly, I'll go and ask the cow now before she goes to bed. But he doesn't agree, don't they?
And
Nowadays, like marmalade instead. I've gotten bits in the middle.
The king said,
Oh, dearie me.
"Oh, dearie me," and went back to bed.
The king said, oh, dearie me, and bounced back to bed. No,
Nobody,
he
he
went
said,
back to bed, yes.
Nobody, he said, could see that I'm a fussy man, but I do like a little bit of butter with my bread. The queen said, oh dear, there, and went and told the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, there, and...
Went and told the orderly, but that doesn't rhyme, does it?
No, but she went and told the orderly.
The cow went there.
The orderly was a former cow, I take it.
Yeah.
The orderly said,
There.
I didn't really mean it. Here's milk for his porringer and butter for his bread. So...
That's when the king bounced out of bed.
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody, he said, could call me a fussy man. But
No, nobody said as he slid down the banisters.
That's right.
Nobody, he said, could say that I'm a fussy man, but I do like a little bit of butter with my bread.
Yes. They were great poems. I think if there's a poem with rhythm and rhyme, that's why we can remember most of it.
Yes.
Not all of it, but most of it.
Well, and if it has a certain amount of humour.
It does. It does.
Yes.
Golly me.
If
I don't know whether this has got the Push Me Pull You in it, though. He was my favourite.
that was in the first one.
Well, it's not in here then, is it?
I
I don't know these ones very well, actually. So the Dr. Dolittle books.
Yes, it was
got something in it.
Yes, it was the first of the Dr. Dolittle books that had the Push Me Pull You in it.
Oh, you've used this in. Was it in A Life in Art? You've used that. You've had a notice in here, double-page spread.
Oh yes, I did reproduce.
So it was the pictures, wasn't it?
Yes.
Really, that were.
I was hugely influenced by the.
Yes.
Is that Dr. Dolittle's Garden or Dr. Dolittle's
This
Travels?
is Dr. Dolittle on the Moon.
Yes.
I don't think I got past the first one, actually. While reading.
You didn't need to. But
I read it again recently. It's the way books go out of favour, don't they? The children's books.
yes. Well, I wish I could get the Travels of Dr. Dolittle. That had. No.
Well, you'd think it would be with those two, wouldn't you? But I couldn't find it.
Yes, it must have been because I remember the illustrations, all the Dr. Dolittle illustrations in books, and I realise now chiefly ones that were illustrated by the authors.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And he illustrated it. But it was, well, I thought it a very funny book because...
Did Edward Lear do his illustrations?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I thought so.
Oh, entirely.
Who else illustrated then and wrote?
Tolkien illustrated The Hobbit. And a huge, yes, they certainly influenced me. And
Now, The Little Prince, was that?
Oh yes, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
Yes, he illustrated as well?
He did, yes. Yes, they all did.
Who wrote Where the Wild Things Are?
The illustrator of it too.
Yeah.
And Morris Sendak.
Morris Sendak. You gave that, was it to Katrina or Tracy?
One or other, yes.
I think it was Tracy. I think it was probably Tracy, scared her stiff.
Did it?
Only for a little while, until she got used to it. But she was quite easily scared.
Let the wild rumpus commence.